lesson, maximizing profit, keys to holding longer. Nice little graphic here to kind of show you plays like, oh, wow, like OCG and BTX, MVIS, you know, plays that ran for multiple hours today. Good examples of that. Let's get into some examples again. CAPR. And what I'm doing and how to help, you know, for you, maybe if you're having trouble with that. And again, this kind of comes back to that scaling in and out, finding support. This is like literally, this is like multiple lessons in one here, which I love. So if you're having trouble holding for long, you know, chunks of those moves, this is what's going to help you out. So again, you know, this is not the full move this stock even made for the day, but just kind of a quick little zoomed in graphic so you can see we have a range. We have news out at, you know, in the morning in pre-market, which is awesome. We love these 15 minutes for the bell rings when you go from $2.50 up to $7 in 3 minutes, right? Love life. So, and just kind of looking back and where we're going to get in here, you know, just kind of look at this right now, where we could have got in at, where we want to look to get out at, hold on for long pieces of moves, and what we're doing, team. The first thing we're doing that morning when I come into chat is, and boom, this goes back to that using past chart history, right? Reading past chart history lesson. We're going to go back to CAPR and go, wow, okay, we're gapping up. We know we're at 5.7, you know, in pre-market. So if we cut, like me and Deck did that morning, we spotted out this area beautifully. Like, wow, if we could just come back down to 375, somehow give back. If not, cool. We're then working with this, though, you know, when we kind of move back up, which we'll get back into. But you're just using past chart history, right? This is the overall move this made. This was April 29th of last year. We go from $2.50 up to $11. Pretty good move, right? This is lunch hours too. Look at this, middle of the day. Yes, we slowly start fading, but still see good bounces on the way down. But again, where do we want to get in on these plays? Now we have to go back to what? We have to go back even further when these plays go further, you know, or it spiked to $11. So we can see, go back up here. So we have, let's just get through this. So we have about a 750. Oh, wow. 875 makes sense, right? 875 area, 950-ish, and around $11 resistance areas. So when we go back through this, we can see here, oh my, did that look, did we say 750? Okay, 750, 750. Oh, woo, woo. Look how this ran straight to 750. Again, areas 875, 950, 875. Look at that with an upper shadow just over it, but 875 failed. 950 didn't quite see the resistance area we wanted, right? But look how $11 did. Now, I know it is another just quick upper shadow to it, but we know those areas are coming. So what to do in the trade? Let's go back to it. Say you got in at the 375 bounce. We all alerted in Deck. All of us got in. Now, like Deck, I mostly was out at the VWAP here. I was done for the trade. You know, I'm moving back close up to the 450 plus range, 475 now. I'm in over $1, you know, up $1. I'm scaling on, you know, out on the way up. You know, in areas you're looking at, which we'll get into, and I'll post that afterward. This is going to help out scaling in and out, where to find support and resistance. So you know if you get in here, where's your first area you're going to move up to? Probably this little bulk of lower shadows where you move straight up into. You got to get out some here. Now we have VWAP next with this huge upper shadow that we tried to spike up over. We couldn't when we literally crashed our way at the opening. Scale out there. Now where are areas to, again, you're scaling out, right? So we need to, I got to hold for some of this move. You know, if we get this move that I saw earlier, we have potential up to 7, don't we? And that's what you have to see. No, you have at least potential to 7. So what's your goal? Okay, one of my last scale out zones will be 5. So I have some in still from 375, but at 5, I'm going to add. I'm going to add at the 5 break. Now, if you're still iffy about adding at 5, you know, breaking of resistance areas like whole round numbers, understand it. Be a patient trader like I am and just wait for your ad. Beautiful. I love it. Just wait. Be patient. Sometimes you may not get it, but wait for the next one. Upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow. Oh, look how we bounce off of this perfectly. 2 upper shadow or lower shadows right on it. Maybe a third and a fourth one close to the area. Be patient and wait for your trade to come in you. But Sky, anyone that wants to know how to maximize your profits, your gains, if you're not first, you're last. Or if you're not first, you're last, right? So you want to get in at your lowest bounce possible, which is usually the ones we're trying to find. You know, kind of like earlier with the OCG or whatever it was. I forgot what bounce play it was. Maybe it was MVIS. I think it was MVIS. Remember, I alerted that bounce play and it didn't see that area for the longest time afterward. Should have taken my own alert. Again, stick to your trade, find your area, and then scale out on the way up. Also find areas to add. That's your best thing to do. Also, on top of the fact, while you're adding on your way up, know your resistance areas. You know, if you want to add at 5 in the VWAP, essentially, so if you didn't add at the 5 break or the 5 touch, now finally the 5 in the VWAP, you know you're going to have some resistance at 5.5. So start scaling out there. We break clear over these upper shadows. Like me, wait for the bounce off of them, and that's where you can add. Now, if you want to add on the way up, and that's just what you feel more comfortable with, you see it breaking resistance, and you want to add here, fine. So be it. But that's what you're doing. You're buying, scaling out, adding. Buying, scaling out, adding. You know, you scale out, you buy. You know, you're scaling out into these areas, but you're saving some for the move on up. Along the way, you're not getting full out positions while adding on the way up. Do I do that often? No, because I don't have, you know, up until recently, I haven't been over the PDT. I haven't been able to do that. But I have done that in trades where I'm like, well, I'm at that. I wasted all my trades on this, and it's fine because it's a trade like this. But this is how you maximize your gains. Let's just go through, and I go through, and it's the same thing over and over. That's cap R. So let's look at S and DX. And I put the lines in kind of going forward as if like it is on DEX, where if it's on the daily, it's on the intraday. So these are already kind of here. So let's look at where are these at on the intraday. We got one around the 1640-ish mark, 1650. It's around the same area, 1740-ish area, and then right over 810. Now all we're doing, once we see these moves that are being made, right, we're going to go back to the daily. We're going to go over here and see, okay, we had 15. We had one here at 16 right here. We had one at 18 right here, or 1750, one at 18. Essentially in the same areas. If I scroll up right here, I didn't put one at 15 because really, we didn't see much resistance at 15. It just blew right past it. So then you're coming in here and not only using intraday, but then if anything's happened before for later on, but then the main thing you're doing for, say if you got in on this play. Now, of course, it's really hard unless you, hey, you essentially bought on the break of 15 or, you know, the quick little pullback that it usually does have. So that's your entry. Where to start scaling out? Well, again, you already should immediately have gone over here to your daily and going, okay, your first area that I really liked, that I probably would have taken some off the plate is right there, that 15.5 to 15.70, right here in this area, these two upper shadows. But I know if I break through that, I'm good to 16, whatever these upper shadows are, that 1630-ish area, right? So that's where you're at. That's where you're scaling out on the way. Again, in at 15, you didn't even worry about anything really in the $15 range. That little area I told you about, a little hesitation there you can see, but it pretty much blew straight to 16. Break a 16, look how that went. Bananas. Straight through that one resistance area, which is fine. You know, hey, you'll love when it breaks through resistance like a hot knife through butter. But look how then it became beautiful support. And you're like, well, why there? Well, why there? Again, let's go back to the daily. Let's go back to what's happening right there is why. That's why it's holding up right there. Upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow. So use these areas of not only to scale out in, but once you've scaled out, look to add back into. So you are still getting parts of this run, but still also maximizing your profit by holding part of your gain. You're looking back, looking where these things can move to. Now it takes every trader a little bit of, you know, difference to hold, you know, that's old, you know, the big cojones type thing, you know, to hold those trades, you gotta, you got brave, bold, or, you know, you gotta be a, you know, again, it just comes back to being patient, being like a, you know, it takes a while to be a robot. You know, it's not about, oh, I'm just a, you know, no, not about all it being, you know, Mr. Macho or Bravo or Mrs. Macho or Bravo. It's about being disciplined, looking at past chart history, where these things can run to, and just sticking to your plan. That's the main thing. Trying to be a robot as best as you possibly can be. Very hard. It takes years. You think Tom Brady was Tom Brady Stone Cold the first year. I mean, it took, I mean, well, it was pretty close to, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of these people, most people, it takes a while to kind of get that. Well, and of course, you go back to college, which, hey, by the way, I saw Tom Brady play, actually, by the way. 1999 Citrus Bowl, Arkansas playing Michigan. And again, back to that is my point. Tom Brady wasn't a starter. Or it may have been the starter, but it was him and the guy that ended up playing for the Cowboys for him. Anyway, point being, it was him. It was back when they still did that. They still do here and there. That 2 quarterback system. But that's my point. He didn't play the whole game. But yet, look what happened to Tom Brady. Wasn't the main dude at Michigan, but look where Tom Brady's at now. So again, it sometimes just takes a minute to click. It takes years, even for the GOATs like Tom Brady. CREX. Let's look at this trade. I mean, we go from literally $1 up to $5.15 in after hours. You're talking about one like, wow, we're up 500% on the day. I wish I would have known this back here on the deal. Wow, I wish I would have held for that. How to hold for that? Again, Go back to past chart hit. Now, again, you're out most of this. Let me tell you, most good traders are going to be out. They're not holding. When this starts cracking through the VWAP, well, I'm going to add here and I'm adding there. Most traders aren't. You know, again, those are the traders that have 50, more like 500,000 to $1 million in their back pocket. They can easily do this, no problem. Add. You know, it's just keep adding, keep lowering their entry, right? That's the only way to really hold for chunks of this change. There's no way you're in here at like, you know, say $1.40 early on and you're still in at 5.15. They're just not happening most days. Just not happening. When you see this chart like that, you're getting out when you need to, adding back when you can. And you're just going back to past chart history, making it easy on yourself. You know, go back and see the 175-ish area, a little over $2, $2.50. Let's just work with that to begin with. 175-ish area. Where is he? Right here. 175-ish area. Just over $2. You know, we literally had a little bit at 250, but you can just see those areas going back. 175. A hair over 210, and this is where I finally get on the play. Old resistance equals new support, plus going back to past chart history. I saw this old upper shadow, all these right here, couldn't get above. Bounces, a ton of bounces off of that area, like, oh, money, and I got in on here. Again, was out at most of my trade into this. I didn't hold for thinking this was going to go up through 3, you know. Didn't think it was going to get to 4 or 5. I'll admit that, say that myself. But where you do, and what you do is you get back in on the break of those areas or on bounce plays. That's all you're doing when you're trying to maximize your gains. You know, you see plays like this that nothing in pre-market, but then go from the 180 mark up to 785. Like, how do I know? I mean, I wish I would have, you know, stayed in this. You know, I got in and out of these halt ups. I was out before 5. You know, again, past chart history. Let's go to it. We know 5. You know, boom. We on these areas up where you're going to scale that out, but you have to see. Wow, look what BRQS has done in the past. 11.15 up to a little past 8. You know, this run ended up getting up close to 8. So you've got to realize, A, the potential, and then look at the resistance areas going up. And you just have to, and of course, like I said, you've got the big account like Deck, you can get in bigger shares and you can hold a little bit longer. You know, say if you can only get in 1,000 shares, it's truly hard to hold from say, oh, I'm getting in at the break. You know, okay, let's see how this halts up. If it gaps up, get a huge gap up, and if it was straight momentum up, I'm going to get in for the next, you know, boom. So essentially you want to get in before this halts up, right? So just because it's hard to get, none of us would have really been noticing it. This would have been the first real candle for anyone to get in, like at least us for the most part, unless you're already looking at it. So you're in here to say even right, you know, get a decent fill, say 350. So that's 4. So say 350, because this gets probably holds up about 360. So you get in at 350, 340-ish. Even if you're in there, most traders, as soon as this unhalts and they see all this wacky movement, they're going to take profit close to 5. You know, the best traders, yes, are going to maybe then add back close to where it halted up VWAP after selling some, but still in here, yes, not fully though. There's no way a trader bought here in this candle and then did not sell any in there. There's hardly it's less than 1%. I'd guarantee you if it is 1 to 2% then or less that someone bought in this candle and did not sell in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, say any of these. I guarantee you 90+% of traders are locking up profit because they think they're going to dump right back on off, right? But then again, when you see it holding, now we have green candles. This is your inkling to add. Add over what? Big time. Add over 5. You finally get that huge surge. And, you know, well, I say huge surge, but it comes a couple of candles within a couple of candles. But the big green candle is the main thing. Over 5. You're golden. You know, this goes straight up to 550. Halts up. Now we're holding the halt up area. You can add if you want to, if you didn't scale out already more so. That's all you're doing, though. And then, of course, and you already know these areas. It helps to have them out side by side. But, again, you're looking at these, and if you did, this is where you need to do it. This is halted up. You have 5 minutes minimum to go back to past chart history and go, okay, I'm going to put lines in now. I know like I did, okay, $4. There was a little bit at $4.50, definitely $5. If I get above $5, what else did I have here? The $6 area was pretty crucial. Tad above 6. Look where this hit, right at 6. I mean, so you're just going back to past chart history going, where are my areas to scale out? I'm going to take my, say I was in 1,000 shares here. I'm going to get 250 out at 450, 250 out at $5. Okay, I'm going to add in 250 more. Okay, I'm going to add in 250 more. Okay, now you're back in 1,000 shares, scaling back. So that's however you want to do it. It's different for every trader, but that is going to be how you maximize profits. It's not like you're in. I know Deck makes that analogy. Oh, imagine being in 1,000 shares here at $1.80, and then there's not a trader out there doing that. There is not a trader in the world in at 180, 70, whatever, even at 2, and holding up to, you say, even 7. Not one. There's not one. So don't worry about that. Don't think there's someone out there that's just killing it and you're not. And like, how are they? They're not. They're getting in, if anything, first. If they're not first, they're last, right? So they're getting in somewhat early, but then they're scaling out. They're adding in. They're scaling out. They're adding in, you know, as this moves up over high day areas. That's how you maximize profit. Get through a ton of these. And again, look at all these. This is from April 13th. This is from April 20th. Okay, that was from, but I just took these screenshots. Forgot about that. So some of these, though, are going to be videos, but this, now let's get to WRX. This is from last April, April 13th. Beautiful trend line here. But look, we go from 264, kind of like that first play I showed you, all the way up, you know, close to the $2 to $7, and just actually goes up to like almost 10. Finds its way back down a lot of the way. It's going to happen a lot of the time in pre-market. This is your area. Find a low bounce area to get in. And oh, what are we doing here? We're just going back to past chart history. And where did this bounce at? By the way, I forgot to put that in. Let's see here. We'll call that about the, let's see if that's 5. We'll call it about the 550 area. So 550. Nothing too, 5 would have been great. You know, if you go back to $5, there is a little bit of nice little support bounce all the way back to this at 550. But again, you're looking for maximizing profit. So when you do get in, where you're looking to get out, we know 6, or we should say we know 7, and 8 are going to be super tough. Now, if we scroll past that, because look where the high is, you know, then we have what? Then we have one here at 950. We have 2 at 950, 75 area, 1 at 11 plus. We really don't have much to work with. So again, on these plays, you're using intraday. Once we move past areas, you're using as much as the daily as you can. Again, adding in areas, buying in areas. I should say selling in areas. You're going back and forth. There's no way you're buying down low and you're in anywhere down here. You know, say $5 or close to 6, anywhere up to 8, and holding it to 1480. Not many have that longevity, being able to hold all day and just saying, hey, this is going to hit 15. Not many traders do that. Let me tell you, they're adding a lot along the way. Also, last April the 14th. We're going to have so many to go through here. This goes up from, what's this, from 6 to 16. Nice move, right? All right. So again, look at this resistance right here at $6, literally. Then we have the 875 area, upper shadow, kind of the close of the candle right here. All these lower shadows at 875. That's around the 875 area. Then we know we move up past kind of that. Really, the next real true resistance area, if we want to push, is kind of closer to 14. Then this kind of $16 area. So again, when we go back to it, and look what we run up to, 1620. Look where this upper shadow hits. Upper shadow, the upper shadow of that candle. Go back here. Look at all this kind of 1, 2, 3. You know, all those that kind of touch. We're kind of bouncing off that area. We know that 1630-ish area is super tough, and that literally hits, you know, whatever, 1620. Boom. Whammy. And again, these trades, you know, this is a pre-market where you're looking at, so traders maybe get in after hours, and what they're holding for, they're literally just going back to past chart history. You know, say this is at, once this breaks over 5, you're looking at where you're moving to. So 6, a little bit here at the, you know, maybe a little bit, what's this, probably close to 7, 750. We know 875 because look at this upper shadow meets this lower shadow and lower shadow. So that's going to be some scale out area, you know. Then we have 875 above it, definitely $10. That's all you're looking at as these continue to move up and grind. These are where these areas are going to move to, you know, like the ones I was just showing you, 750. Let's see where 875, what happens there. 870 literally right around here, because we know 9 is in between, right in the middle of 8 and 10, you know, 8 and 10. So 875-ish area, 875 resistance, and we get some good support off of it. So just use those areas, you know, use your past chart history, use what it's done intraday, use your support and resistance lines. And you all these are from last April. Last April was just bananas. Again, you're just going to past chart history, looking over to the left-hand side here, kind of trying to establish where your resistance is going to be at as these move up. You know, if, like, again, this opens the day at, say, to $2 area. You want to get in. What would be a good area to maybe get in? It breaks above, say, you know, the resistance here at the 240 area, as you can see. Let's pull it up. Good little resistance right here, because this is, you know, 2 to 3. So this area, but I guess it's really 220. Then you're good, what, to the next little 260-ish, 250-ish area. Then you're good to the 270-ish. You can go all the way across 275-ish, 280 area. Then you see upper shadow. A lot of these were up just above 3. So, you know, 3 or so, somewhere in that area, start taking some in. Then, of course, when you dip back on those areas, get your, literally, look at this, right over the 3. Like I said, it was right over 3, was it not? There's where you saw your resistance. Then we find a dip right back off of that area. So you're buying, you're selling, you're buying, you're selling on the way up. These aren't, and again, I'm going to show you where I have, you know, a ton of slides where you scale in, scale out, having arrows on the way up, have the arrows, you know, essentially it's kind of that same type of lesson, really. How to maximize your gains is how to scale in and out. Now, a lot of traders, it takes, again, a long time to be able to get in low on. Say you want this 240-ish area bounce and you're still holding at 380. You're going to have to, again, a lot of the time those traders have bigger share sizes is one of the reasons why. Secondly, they've been doing it for a while. And thirdly, a lot of them are selling and of course then buying, selling, buying, selling, buying. They're not just going, here's 1,000 shares at 260. Oh yeah, here we go. We're up to 380. I'm selling it all. You know, that's not how it happens majority of the time. Mr. N. Haven't seen this kind of while. He was a runner there for a while. Going from, you know, again, look at these. A lot of these just doing nothing. And then $1.40. Next thing you know, it's up to 335. So what are you looking at? You're going back to past chart history. Let's see if it really runs into resistance right here. What is this? 275, 280 area? 80. Boom. 280. Look at this. This first move up right in the 280 area. And then all I'm doing is going back here. I was like, let me see the first area that kind of looking at this chart. Right. Oh, my bad. Because we're over $2. But this area, this is the line I saw. This little ridge right through there. I'm like, let me see if this saw some resistance. And it did see a little bit of resistance. So that's all you're doing, and you're going to find those areas on the way up when you want to get into these plays, when you're going to sell, when you're going to buy, when you're going to, like I said, add on these plays, and then you're going to sell on the way up. Okay, it's dipping back. I want to add. Okay, it's going to bring your cost and your average up, but that's fine. You're adding and selling again on the way up and paying yourself as these move up. And hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Hopefully you kind of understand and see what I'm saying. And the plays that you see me, and probably a quarter of the plays where you see me get in for a good portion of the move, is just doing that. You know, I'm not buying and selling most of the time. I'm in, you know, 2,000 shares or 1,000 shares and just doing 250, 250, 250. Sometimes, and you've seen me, I've done it very rarely on those plays. But then, yes, I will definitely add on the way up. CHCI, this is actually one of the lessons I did last year, and then did this in the lesson and just kind of broke down the chart itself, you know, and you just go back and go, okay, CHCI, wow, if we break over, you know, we'll have some resistance here at like this 275 area, see some at 250 for sure, upper shadow right here and a little touch. We break above that, we're golden, you know, we're going to really start pushing, and look what we did that day. So again, let's just go back to it. What was it? 250 and 275. Oh, I broke it off. Oh, that's a killer. That is a killer right there. But there's a 250 mark. Then there's some upper shadows. This is 275, and then this is 3. And then, of course, then it just shot its way up because we knew over this $3 area, look what it did. It went whammy and just kind of shot up some more. But, yeah, that was the 250 mark. And then the 275 area into 3, it was having some trouble right there. And then when it shot through 3, look at that. Boom. Into a beautiful pennant flag / ascending triangle type right there. And I always tell you, they're kind of a little bunchy and quick. And then whammy, we get another huge, you know, burst from that. And then to read that, which I love, because this is, oh, that's what I did. That's what I did. I love it. I love it. So when you can't go back a year, when you go back a year, team, and you can't see it all. So, okay, now, okay, so we know over, you know, okay, oh, what do we have to do? Oh, we have to go back even further. And so this is what I'm always doing. So this is where I'll go back 3 years, I'll go back 10 years, I'll go back 12 years, 15 years, whatever it has to do. You can see I have a, well, this is a 3-year one day now. So we know if we move over 3, we have 350, we have the 325 area, 325. Over 325, we're at 350, a bit of a resistance, but then we know we're good to about the 375 mark, 375 to 380. Then we're good to 4. Then we're good to about 425. Then we're good to about probably 475. Yeah, and that's all I'm doing. I'm going back, pulling this up even further and going, okay, over 3, okay, you know, where am I good over these areas and what do I need to be looking for further on? And you can see then that's when those areas are areas you need to scale out in and take some profit. If they burst above them, you know, that's a good, you know, add in area over resistance, you know, over these upper shadows, we burst up into new highs for the day. Or if it pulls back to those set areas for a bounce off of them, and that's where you can add. And then, of course, scaling out then into the next, you know, and just repeat, you know, it's a little repeat, you know, rinse and repeat, same thing over and over and over again. And then last good prime example, which could have been mine today. And I just, it all comes back to, on top of the fact, team, what are stocks doing recently? OCGN this morning could have been a great play for me to hold in. You know, I was in a great bounce play. Talk about that in a lot of these plays. We see that dip back to a good area. 875, I was in. I thought this was done. This run up to 10 plus, I thought it was done. But again, if we just go back to past chart history, if I just would have looked a little bit more, you know, I was good till if I just would have held for this pop over 1020, I was good for a pop till about 11. Or I should say 1060 to 1080, then 11, but it went right through that. Oh. Beautiful, because it created a flag, and these flags, sometimes you don't know when they're coming in, and they'll burst right through resistance, like, you know, like I said, hot knife through butter, and that's what you want to see. Create another flag, then another weird little bull flag, and you kind of just popping up. But all you're doing then is you're just coming over here. If you want to add in these areas, you can. That could be old resistance equals new support, or just breaking over high of day. You know, this was more of a slow and steady mover. It's like 100, 200 mil float, whatever this is. It's a bigger float play, OCGN is, so you don't see those crazy moves. It's more of a slower play, but that's what you're looking for. You know, you want the bounce here. You're scaling out most into this area. Maybe a big enough account, you can trade that much, adding in at these dips. Add at this dip. Oh, it's surging through this flag. Oh, you're loving life, because you've not only scaled out some, but then added here. So you have your base entry still, you know, maybe 250 to 500 shares, but now you've added another 500 shares in here. Whoop, up to now scaling out some in here, you know, and then you just kind of keep doing that over and over and over. So hopefully that helps with how to maximize your gains.